What up, guys? Today we are jumping into some operations with a support build for Bulwark. I am pretty tanky, and I do like focused restoration. This is one of my favorite perks in the game. It's just not very good in absolute. I do think an armor every 40 seconds is actually kind of good, but obviously, the contested health support for the team perk is the go-to for Bulwark. But I figured, you know what, with patch 7 coming out, it's likely a good time to help some players level up. Basically help them get closer to prestiging. So I always like to do this thing where I go to a lower difficulty with a support build. You can do a support build with actually a couple classes, which is pretty cool. Like Bulwark, Sniper, Heavy have some pretty good support builds. And I will say that doing it with Bulwark is always fun because Banner is just very enjoyable. And as I was talking about with Focused Restoration, it's actually really fun just trying out perks that, you don't think are very good in absolute, but are fun regardless. It's always just enjoyable to see how good Bulwark is at supporting the team and keeping everybody tanky. And we do have a Heavy here as well, which, giving a Heavy an extra armor every 40 seconds is pretty good, Just gotta make sure your Heavy has armor. That's always nice. That's always nice. But between Banner, considering, I am using Icon here, so my Banner is a bit slower than usual. And yes, we are all very excited for patch 7. So helping players level up, helping players get to the point where they can prestige, it is kind of just it's kind of an enjoyable thing to do. And we do have the power sword. Oh yeah, the stim there. I definitely can just help my teammates get their mortal wounds there, which is nice. Right now we do have a Heavy with full heal. He is a fully healed Heavy. They did end up using the stim for their mortal wound. And I do have a Banner as well. The shield bashing here isn't really to buff me. It's really just to, help create some space for my teammates. Basically, I jump into these operations not to carry them, but to support them. So the Banner is here. The armor is here. I will parry. I will throw grenades. If I get attacked by things, I'm going to attack them. But my number one goal here is to make sure my teammates are, ready to go for the fight and heal. There's a nice Banner to, basically help my tactical clear his mortal wound. I noticed they had a stim, so I figured, hey, you know what? They are likely to use this stim as soon as I drop the Banner. And they did. And I believe one of these players are level 1, and they both knew how to clear mortal wounds. So they're not true noobs unless they're just really good new players. But they are still leveling up some really low classes. And this is substantial. It's nothing too difficult, at least not for, me playing Bulwark on console. I genuinely think I'm a better Bulwark on console than PC, by the way. I think the sword and board gameplay... Oh yeah, here it is. Level 1 tactical, level 13 heavy. On substantial, not too bad. Yes, especially since we're going against the Bio Titan. It's going to be, it's going to be a struggle for the level 1 to get through mobs here. But don't worry about it because I do have the Banner. I dropped that Banner just to heal the tactical right there. It was kind of not the best Banner, but it was a sort of convenient one at the time. There was a bit of a mob presence in this hallway, so. And then I just noticed the tactical was kind of just hanging out there. So I figure, hey, you know what? Let's just drop the Banner right here. Let's just heal the tactical up a little bit. But like I said, I'm not here to carry them, but if I do get attacked by things, I need to, I definitely need to parry. I definitely need to parry here. I am using the Neo-Volkite pistol as well. It's kind of a fun weapon to use. Oh, there's the shock field from my armor breaking. I was getting torn up there. That was pretty wild. They were kind of hitting me back and forth. And I do have a teammate here that is in need of a rezzing. Dude, you ever think, okay, so the Banner res is always nice. But I don't know. I always feel like even when I have it, I just never find a good time for it. I just go for the reses and then just use Banner. I just use Banner for Icon. So I don't know, maybe Banner and you know, maybe Icon is just better off, you know, better off without the heals, not the heals, sorry, better off without the rezzing, you know, picking up your teammate. It's kind of interesting. It just never seems to line up for me, even though it should. Oh, but yeah, here we are for the Bio-Titan fight. This fight definitely took a bit. I do think it was definitely one of these players' first time here. But hey, you know what? I'll give it to them. They knew how to clear mortal wounds. There's no shot. There's no shot that's not like the first important thing you need to learn in this game. Oh yeah, there was an icon I definitely needed to heal myself. Dude, I am definitely very, very excited for patch 7. Things like this, like jumping into substantial just to, you know, level up a weapon or maybe to level up your prestige rank a little bit, it's definitely just going to be enjoyable for me. As much as I always enjoy going into higher difficulties, it's always funner, just, you know, not funner, but it's always fun to kind of mix it up a little bit. And yeah, sometimes just running perks that aren't really meta, but are fun to use, sometimes just doing that in lower difficulties is an enjoyable way to enjoy your time in the game. And when the prestige perks comes out, now you actually have a benefit to do that because the experience you are getting for these missions, like, I mean, we have to keep in mind, we've been throwing out so much experience, like, just straight up out the door sometimes when we go into Absolute. Like, you will finish an Absolute with a max level character, you will finish with like 6,000 experience maybe. Well, I think that was during the extra experience, you know, when we had the experience boost. But that's the experience we are going to see when you first prestige. In Absolute, you're going to get a lot of experience. It's going to be interesting. The one thing I'm a little bit worried about is, you know, how much, if you only need like 500 experience to level up your last prestige point or whatever, you should just be better off just jumping into average or something. But it's going to be interesting to see how the experience ends up like stacking on top of each other for how long you grind. Like for decapitation, you know, we're all definitely going to be going into the operations, trying to get it done quick. It's going to be an enjoyable time to sit and kind of see how the community, you know, adjusts to patch 7. And here we are trying to survive the Bio-Titan. Luckily, I do have a banner here for my teammates, and I'm pretty much just making sure that they stay alive. They do have a mortal wound. Unfortunately, I cannot block these attacks, so this is just a very, very sketchy situation for us to be in. I am kind of looking for some enemies to kind of help me heal the heavy. And of course, we have a Biovore just popping up out of nowhere. The Neo-Volkite pistol is so good against Biovores. I really appreciate the Neo-Volkite pistol, and the fact that we're going to get the Inferno pistol soon. It's just so weird looking over at the amount of pistols we have in this game, and they're actually pretty good weapons, to be completely honest, but we have a lot of options for strategy with these pistols. Like, they all do something very unique, which is pretty cool to see. However, I would like to see at least a new primary next. That would be very enjoyable. But I gotta admit, I'm very excited for the perk rework also. We had a good amount of time in the PTS, but I genuinely didn't want to get too familiar with using the prestige perks because I do understand that it is going to be a really big grind. I didn't want to get too comfortable with the, you know, the extra 4 perks. And luckily there, I was able to line up my banner to heal my teammate. This Bio-Titan fight definitely took a fair amount of time. I think I jumped in this operation a little bit late, but nothing too late. And I think this Bio-Titan fight ended up taking up like half the operation for whatever reason. Maybe I should have just picked up the pistol and got it done that way. But I was definitely more concerned with surviving, as you can see. Holy cow, did I take a lot of damage there. But I gotta admit, the Bulwark showing its tank ability. The Bulwark is such a good class, man. I genuinely have such a good time playing the sword and board, especially with, I think I mentioned a little bit before in this video. I mentioned that, yes, I play better with the paddle on console with the Bulwark. And I think that's just because of my you know, my experience with Souls games, I guess, or I've pretty much played paddle my entire life until I got a PC, and then anything that had first-person shooting or aiming at all, I was using mouse and keyboard. But something about the sword and board, it just feels, you know, it just feels perfect with a paddle. And you know, I do have some experience playing sniper on console now as well, so I've gotten a little bit better with aiming. On console, you also get pretty good aim assist as well, which is kind of nice. Oh, there I just take a shot directly. That was so rough, man. And yeah, I'm getting a little bit swarmed here. Definitely went for some parrying. Now here, I'm definitely just trying to team up a little bit because I'm getting a little bit concerned with the amount of gaunts. If I get one of these majors down, I can definitely, you know, start to dwindle the numbers of the mob here. Oh, luckily someone definitely threw a grenade. I mean, dude, honestly, the grenades are nice to have. You should. Oh man, I just got knocked off there. That was rough. That was rough. Grenades are always really nice to have for mobs, but you definitely gotta keep track if you have crack grenades, because crack grenades specifically are great to take out extremists. On Substantial, you don't see that many extremists. I feel like Substantial overall is kind of a weird difficulty at the moment. It's like Ruthless is a better spot to kind of practice being into a, you know, going into a higher difficulty. I guess Substantial is actually pretty good for experience. Substantial might be the prestige, like the first prestige difficulty people play. So actually, it's kind of weird seeing difficulties get more important because of prestige. It's actually kind of interesting to see how that kind of like stacks up. But yeah, that BioTitan fight definitely took a long time because somebody, you know, I don't know. I just think maybe it was their first experience in the operation. But hey, you know what? Shout out to those players. They cleared their mortal wounds. They were able to, you know, basically carry me as I supported them through this operation, which is nice. The cannon here. Yeah, see, you can tell this is their first operation for this one, you know, because they're watching the cutscenes. Their first, you know, termination. Dude, the BioTitan boss fight is so interesting. It's actually kind of fun, but it's definitely it can definitely be painful. And yeah, there we go. We picked up 3 players. 3 players revived. You know, we didn't go down. Pretty good support stats right there.